guys, what is going on? How are y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live for my live review of the NXT Great American Bash, the two-night extravaganza for NXT the past 2 weeks that I will review both nights of both shows tonight. Again, I chose to watch Great American Bash first this week because, of course, there were rumors speculating around. Apparently, somebody had leaked the results of the main event of Night 2. And I did not look them up. Of course, did not ruin the surprise for me, as they definitely did what I didn't expect them to do, which also reminded me, even when it's not its strongest show, don't doubt NXT. And I'm glad I didn't, but I guess because there was definitely some good hype behind that main event based off of the leaked results online, and with Brian Cage and Jon Moxley being moved to next week, that is why I decided to do Great American Bash first this week. So I'll do that first. I have a trivia night tomorrow night, so either tomorrow after trivia or sometime on Friday, if I have the time, I will do Fyter Fest. I will catch up on that, and I will review both nights of Fyter Fest. Kind of treating these like a pay-per-view review, but not quite at the same time. I didn't have enough time to make all the graphics for all the matches for both those shows. Well, I probably could have done with Fyter Fest, because Fyter Fest at least, hyped up their shows. NXT Great American Bash. Here's my thoughts. A really great two-night special. I thought it was a lot of fun. Would I say it's one of the best NXT shows? No. But I would say I think they did a pretty darn good job. The thing that kind of hurts it a little bit for me is that I'm being 100% honest here. I felt like this was all really thrown together last minute. It felt like an episode of NXT turned into a pay-per-view. Because not all the matches were advertised. Some of them were just spur of the moment, last minute things. I gotta throw in. There, of course, was some hype to this, but I feel like as far as the hype for this show, could have done a little bit better with this. Like, because Fyter Fest obviously had been hyped up for weeks. This felt like this was just decided like a week or two ago. It felt like they were going to go with having this Great American Bash, and not just just a regular episode of NXT. So I wish they would have had a little more hype for it, I thought, and started building for it, a little bit sooner. Like, hyping up the fact that this is going to be happening. The other problem I had with this show, very micromanaged crowd. I mean, having, a hot crowd was nice, but once again, does Adam Cole really need to be booed like he's a nuclear heat heel? Like, seriously? Like, the fact that the audience doesn't even react to anything Adam Cole does that they would normally react to just kills me. And just the fact that it's micromanaged, it kind of hurts the show a little bit more, in my opinion. So the grade I actually gave for this show, again, I probably would not have given it this grade if it wasn't for the results of that main event. I probably would have been just a slight step down, I thought. I still enjoyed watching both nights of the show. I'm not going to knock that. It was great. One or two things really that I really wasn't a fan of. Well, really only one, but it was still a great event. And we're going to talk about this because I got to go to bed soon and I got to go to work tomorrow, but we're going to talk about that. Live chat. What's up, Tyler and Mark? One word to describe the NXT Great American Bash is awesome. I'm surprised there was no Undisputed Era. Me too. That first match was good. And also congratulations to Keith Lee. And of course, Tyler said fake ass crowd. Once again, because they're micro managed in WWE. allow them to just be fans. They're micromanaged. They have to react certain ways because they're in control. They want to make things sound how they want to sound, not organic as a show is supposed to sound. But let's talk about this show. Let's start off with night one, as I promised. Night one opened up with a fatal four-way elimination match to determine the next number one contender for Io Shirai's NXT Women's Championship. Well, of course, the winner at the time would face either Io Shirai or Sasha Banks, as they were the main event of night one. I thought this was a very good match. They were kind of tying in, two storylines. Well, even a little bit more than that. All four of these women kind of had history with each other. Obviously, the biggest rivalry, of course, with Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. Of course, there's been a rivalry with Mia Yim and Candice LeRae as well. Candice LeRae, though, has history with Mia Yim. With obviously her and Dakota Kai obviously didn't get along after Dakota Kai turned her back on Team Ripley at NXT Takeover War Games last fall. Obviously there's starting to build a little bit of tension with Tegan Nox and Candice LeRae. I still keep saying Candice LeRae, despite being a heel, despite being a heel, she doesn't feel like she's a full-fledged nuclear heel. She just has she seems to have that little bit of that soft spot in her still. I mean, she obviously is coming across as a jerk, but it feels like she's not doesn't have the full-on heel tactics. She just has a more aggressive attitude right now, it seems like. I thought this was good. The eliminations happened first. After it's a tandem move, Yim hits Protect Your Neck on Candice LeRae to eliminate her first. And then Dakota Kai would go on to eliminate Mia Yim. And it came down to Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox, who had again some great back and forth action. Looking like Io was gonna win. I mean, they probably hyped up Dakota Kai to be the favorite in this. As again, she's definitely come a long way. Even just rocket ship shot. Well, not rocket ship shot, but just her credibility. I felt really went up so many other levels ever since this heel turn happened. I mean, I liked her as a babyface, but I felt like she still had a little bit of ways to go. Then when she turned heel, it really put her on a whole nother level. Just brushed her up a little bit more, I thought. And of course, these two have great chemistry and just really know how to tell a great story fighting together. But in the end, Tegan Nox, to my surprise, would get her comeuppance. As she, of course, recently did in that 6-woman tag match at TakeOver in Your House. But she also gets a win here when she eliminates Dakota Kai with the shiniest wizard. And she's the number one contender for Io Shirai's NXT Women's Championship, which they'll be having their match next week on NXT. As, of course, since Brian Cage and Jon Moxley got moved to next week, they're having another little mini show called Fight for the Fallen for AEW, kind of like how they did last fall. They had Fight for the Fallen also, but NXT, they're just stacking the card pretty much. They're not calling it anything special because we already have a lot of big matches advertised for next week. One of them, of course, being Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes. As on night one, Mackenzie Mitchell interviews Damian Priest addressing his issues with Cameron Grimes, and he challenges Grimes to a match. The second match we had on night one was Timothy Thatcher and Oney Lorcan. This is Thatcher's first match in the ring since his Fight Pit match with Matt Riddle. This is a really good physical match. The ending had a lot of great sequences, with Oney Lorcan slapping Thatcher to the mat, grabbing the single leg Thatcher, and goes for the ropes and counters into a knee submission, double underhook suplex, and gets two, and Oney Lorcan fish hooks his way out of a sugar hole, but gets caught in the Fujiwara armbar. So good, again, it was physical. It's one of those matches where it's you don't if this was something like Raw or SmackDown, they probably would make it look like it's an average match. But two guys who have like, a hard hitting submission type style. Well, Oney Lorcan's not really a submission person because he has his half and half full Nelson suplex. Um, but definitely he's just a hard nosed brawler, and Timothy Thatcher has that with his extended knowledge of submissions as well. And I thought these two just had really good chemistry. It looked really good. Yeah, if it was like had like a sleeper pick for this weekend, not referring to the fact that I'm yawning right now, I definitely would give it to this one because Timothy Thatcher's really scaling up there. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he became North American champion sometime soon. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But I think he's definitely, like a sleeper hit right now in NXT, and people just aren't giving as much attention as he should need to. But I thought that was a great match. But after the match, Thatcher was holding on for a few more seconds, then he celebrates while the referee then checks on Oney Lorcan, since he did a lot of damage to the arm with the Fujiwara armbar. Then we had a Karrion Kross video. He calls out certain entitled individuals. They put time in, but it's never about that. Scarlett says this brand is about to be defined by suffering, and Kross says time is almost up. Tick tock. Of course, probably referring to the main event between Adam Cole and Keith Lee, which we'll get to that in a little bit later on. Next is probably my least favorite thing about this week, these past 2 weeks. This 2-on-1 handicap match with Rhea Ripley taking on Aaliyah and Robert Stone. I just don't care about this, again, as I keep saying. Like, how does Rhea Ripley, again, go from one of the hottest acts in NXT to being in such a joke of a storyline? Again, I'm not digging what they're doing with Robert Stone, not at all. I liked when he was with Chelsea Green, but they've randomly split him up. He's now with Aaliyah, but they're doing nothing but lose, yet he's still saying they're successful. Makes no sense to me. Rhea, though, gets the win with a double submission, pretty much. Getting both Stone and Aaliyah to tap out. It was stupid. It was a really dumb match. We get a recap of what's going on with Roderick Strong and Dexter Lumis as they have their strap match next, which I also thought was very good, with Lumis continuing to play the mind games really well. Of course, with there being cards on the stage, because they actually decorated the stage a little bit. Obviously, it was kind of like, giving Roderick Strong flashbacks to the fact that, once again, he does not like Trunks. He fears Trunks, and even though he overcame his fear the other week, obviously the fear still lingers in with him. But we did have again some interference from Bobby Fish as well, but then that didn't work out well, as Lumis gets Roddy up and shams him down into silence with his submission, and Dexter Lumis defeats Roderick Strong. Again, a very solid feud, I would say. It wasn't the best feud in the world, but definitely having a little bit more Dexter Lumis' characters. At first, I'm just like, this guy's just random. It's weird. I'm not sure, but it's actually kind of working. Pros of these mind games make him look pretty good. So, I'll give this good credit. I thought it was good. So Dexter Lumis wins the strap match. Following that, we get next week's main event gets the prime target, as we call it. It starts with an interview with Keith Lee, where he puts over Adam Cole's legendary reign, talking about how much next week means to him. Cole puts over Lee's amazing year, but says his year was better. None of Keith's big moments would have happened if he hadn't led charge into Survivor Series. The difference between them is that Lee comes up short in big moments, and he finds a way to prevail. And Lee says Cole may be undisputed, but he is limitless. They talk themselves up over rising music, and it was just a great way to hype up this title for title main event. We then see Mackenzie Mitchell catching up with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. They've made because it was supposed to be a fatal 4-way, not a 3-on-1. That's why Candice was eliminated. And Johnny starts to say others were jealous when LeRae ran off to brawl with Mia Yim, and then Johnny starts brawling with Isaiah Swerve Scott, setting up 2 matches for night 2, which was the street fight with Candice LeRae and Mia Yim, and the 1-on-1 match with Johnny Gargano and Isaiah Swerve Scott, which were good matches. Then we have El Legado del Fantasma come out. Santos Escobar talks about how luchadors used to be revered, but fans were convinced it was just guys doing flips and masks. But him, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza are here to re-educate. which of course, once again, they're trying to say that us luchadors are much more than just masks, which again is different. It's interesting, and again, I do like it. Drake Maverick comes out with a neck brace, takes it off, and charges in as Wild and Mendoza beat him down. Escobar then picks him up and says, "I told you, little guy, no one can touch me." He goes to the Phantom Driver, but then out comes Breezango to even up the odds, and we set for the 6-man tag match for this coming week. Mackenzie Mitchell interviews Cameron Grimes, laughing about Damian Priest's challenge. He's like, "I don't have time to worry about the past." He's called himself number one contender and calls his shot against the winner of Cole and Lee. I don't know if that's happening anytime very soon, Cameron, but we'll have to wait and see. We also get another hype for Mercedes Martinez and how next week she will, and on night 2, she will make her NXT in-ring return. Then the main event of night 1 was Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. Very good match, of course. Hell of an odd ending, though. Obviously, Bayley was getting involved. She was kind of being annoying. By the way, also, Sasha Banks had an Eddie Guerrero or Alberto Del Rio caliber entrance when she came out in a car. Bayley came out, too, with a dog. But Bayley would try to cause some distractions during the match. She honked a horn. She had a couple other, really goofy things that they have Bayley do as a heel, which kind of turns me off a little bit from her character, again, to be honest. But towards the end of the match, Asuka came out of nowhere to even up the odds. Bayley blasts Io when the referee was not looking away, but when she and the officials argue, Asuka pops up and green mists in Sasha's face, leading to Io hitting the moonsault for the pinfall victory. So a good main event. I wouldn't say it was the best match I thought I would hope to get, but it was still good. Asuka showing up was a little bit random. I get it kind of continued the continuity with, Asuka and Sasha, but to me, it just kind of made no sense to see, Io win. I mean, yes, it evened up the odds, but, still see Io win with some type of distraction, even though, once again, I still wonder, is Io tweener, or is she still a heel? Or is she a babyface? I don't know, especially after the hype video we got for Io Shirai and Tegan Knox, which is going to take place next week. So we'll see where that goes. Let's check the live chat. Sasha Banks better not win the Raw Women's Championship at Extreme Rules. It would kill the brand split again. Again, I keep saying not completely, because again, Sasha at least has a reason to go from brand to brand, because she's women's tag champion and it's been on all brands. What was worse, the Booker T racism storyline, or Roman was the red piece of shit belt from Brock? I don't even know. Maybe, I don't know. The Booker T one was insulting, but Roman and Brock just really put the whole year on lockdown. Roman and Brock, I'll put it that way. So that's night 1. Let's go to night 2. Open up night 2. Oops, I need to scroll back up. Opened up night 2 with the street fight with Mia Yim and Candice LeRae. I thought this was a very, very good physical match. The use of weapons I thought was done very well, especially with the chairs and the garbage cans. My favorite part, though, about the street fight was the ending. A table was set up on the corner turnbuckle. It was not open, the legs weren't open out, it was just laying there. Mia Yim, I guess, had snuck in some brass knuckles she was going to use on Candice LeRae. Unfortunately, that plan backfired because Candice was able to get the brass knuckles off Mia, and she used them whenever the referee wasn't looking to knock out Mia Yim. And then off of the top of that table, off that turnbuckle table that had no legs in there, Candice LeRae does have like a swinging neck breaker thing, jumping off of the table and falling flat on the ground into a pile of chairs for her to pin Mia Yim to get the victory. Very creative finish there for sure. Again, very physical, very creative. What's the best Street Fight I've seen? I still say the match with Io and Candice from Takeover Toronto last year, I still thought was a very, very good match for Candice LeRae for sure. I mean, this was still good too. But I personally, uh, sorry, I still personally think Io and Candice was Io's best match for sure so far. I'd say. Um, so we had that to open up the show. We have people, of course, throughout the night picking who they pick for the main event between Adam Cole and Keith Lee, which gets that later. Then we have Bronson Reed taking on Tony Nese in a random decent match. I was a little confused because I'd seen on SmartGuy that apparently Tony Nese came across as a babyface helping out Isaiah Swerve Scott on 205 Live recently, but he's here again as a heel. So again, I'm not watching 205 Live, so I really don't care. Personally, again, I think Tony Nese, is awesome, but I still think he should be staying heel. I think he's a good way talent to put people over and make himself look good in the process. That's what I see with him, and I think he did a decent job with that, putting over Bronson Reed like he did. Now we have Robert Stone going off again, hyping him and Aaliyah up too much, even though they're nothing but losers. Tries to recruit Shotzi Blackheart, doesn't look working, and Killian Dane just destroys Robert Stone. Who knows? So then we have Johnny Gargano and Isaiah Swerve Scott, and I thought it was a pretty good match. Johnny, though, eventually wins with the one final beat DDT, as he calls it. So Gargano's got wins. Felt they definitely needed them, especially Johnny. Again, if he's going to be in NXT longer term and going to be a heel, he needs a better direction for sure. And he'll be just a coward trying to get out of things a lot. That's not going to work for me, unfortunately. So we have that win. Then we, of course, again, get the hype video for Shirai and Nox. No one puts over how similar the journeys have been, but the champ says they're not the same. And as we show and Tegan's comeback, which of course Tegan talks about how she's tired of being in the sympathy and being known as the comeback kid. She's that's past now, and she's ready to show people what she's ready to do. So nice brief video package to really hype that up for sure. I agree. We had a solid 6-man tag match, I thought, with Legado del Fantasma and Breezango and Drake Maverick. Of course, Tyler Breeze and Fandango came out with a Lucha Cowboy entrance plan. Drake, that was too pissed, and charges to the ring for Santos Escobar. It did not work out, unfortunately, as El Legado del Fantasma wins. After Drake Maverick was pinned from the Phantom Driver by Santos Escobar. Still digging what this is doing, so we'll see where it goes. The Garganos are interviewed, psyched about their wins, and talks themselves up as the best couple in the world. But then Johnny thinks about how he'd be challenging Adam Cole tonight if it weren't for Finn Balor. Candice realizes they both have plenty wrongs to right. They head off and just set off some fireworks of their own. Who knows what fireworks those are. And then Mercedes Martinez had her first match in NXT in quite a while. Again, I still don't get how she went to AEW for a pre-show match. Well, the buy-in, and then she goes back to WWE, who doesn't have a good reputation right now, but it's her choice. She squashed Santana Garrett, and she wins. Obviously, they have big plans for her, which I would agree for sure, but we'll see where that goes. We have Damian Priest talking about his issue with Cameron Grimes, and their match next week is official. Mick Foley picks Keith Lee, but if Cole can survive for 10 minutes, he may win, all those stuff. When Keith Lee made his entrance for the main event, we were reminded that his trainer, Tim Brooks, had just passed away last week, and also his grandmother, who passed away. He was 12, and she had basically got him into wrestling. They mentioned that. But Keith and Adam had a really great match. I wouldn't say it's their best match, but I thought it was a really great match. Cole outsmarted Lee a few times, with the last shot. He had Lee run truck first pretty much into the plexiglass on the wall. And then, of course, Lee, I was worried that they were going to keep this more so of like a power match for Lee. But he had some moments where he showed off his agility, such as a sunset flip from the top rope. Adam Cole also, if I remember, hit a Panama Sunrise on Keith Lee, which was sick as well. But then the finish. The finish surprised me. I really didn't think they were going to go with putting both belts on one person. I thought we were going to be seeing Karrion Kross interfere and cost of the match. Like, that's probably the only logical way, but then again, they did that, it would have been boring. The fact they actually did something different and tricked us can make me definitely feel much appreciated. As again, Keith Lee won the match, and he is now the first ever man to hold both the NXT and the NXT North American Championship. So definitely congratulations to Keith Lee. I mean, I thought first we were going to see Karrion Kross dethrone him at SummerSlam. He could still take one of the belts off of Lee, but I'm glad they did it with Lee because one, you didn't expect it. Well, some people didn't at least. And I should have lost my train of thought. Oh man. Oh yeah. It just kind of capitalizes more on him and his, limitless gimmick and whatnot. He can be limitless to many things in the ring, win multiple championships. What else can he do? But guys, I'm tired, but that's going to do it for my review of Great American Bash. If I gave it a grade, I gave it a B+. I almost gave it just a B. If it wasn't for that moment at the end. Again, the reason why I wasn't going to give it as high of a grade is because, again, one, I just felt like it was just very last minute thrown together. Well, that's pretty much the only reason why. But still an excellent show. I enjoyed it from top to bottom. Check the live chat again. Let's see here. I want this virus to be gone. Me too. 205 Live needs to be getting rid of for sure. It's like when Goldberg won the WCW Championship as United States Champion on Nitro. Tyler said. But alright guys, but again, that's a B+. I'm tired, I'm going to bed. Great American Bash Show was a great 2-week event, even though there was a couple of nitpicks like the stuff with Robert Stone, Aaliyah, and Rhea Ripley. But again, I still thought it was a very good show. If you didn't check it out both nights, definitely worth it. So guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Again, I'll be back here sometime tomorrow or Friday to do my AEW Fyter Fest review, and we'll go from there. So guys, once again, what are your thoughts on this show? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Just always slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBonding3. Until then guys, I'll see you next time when I review AEW Fyter Fest. Until then guys, have a good night. Peace out everybody.